All right, this is Sports for Real, Coach Hall. Another interesting weekend in college football leads way after all the upsets to an even more interesting final week of the season. Even more so because you have rivalry week. And I don't care what kind of season you had, there's nothing better in life than to end the season by whipping your rival. Now, some of these rivalry games are going to determine who makes it to the conference championship games, and that's always a good thing. When I think about when I played, some things behind the scenes usually dictate what happens during these games that a lot of people don't hear about. For instance, the year I played back in '94, we were supposed to beat our rivals by at least 10 points. Well, during the week, a lot of the reserve players, they decided, what is the point of going to practice? You weren't going to play. So why even come to practice? Just go on and get on down to the big game because, we play at neutral sites and, they call it the Florida Classic and people come from all over the place. It's really a big party for people in the stands and people look forward to it all year. Well, that's what happened with a lot of our guys. Now, I was a reserve player myself, but I went to practice that Tuesday, oblivious to the fact that a lot of guys skipped out on it. Well, when I get there and I see what was going on, some of the older players that's been around a while, they kept telling me there was really no reason for me to be there. I knew we still had practice the next day, and I had made plans to be there because that was my role on the team. But I ran one play, and the guy reached out. He was tied up with a blocker, and saw me coming around the edge, and reached out, punched me right in the jaw. The hardest I ever been hit in football or fight or anything else. And all he was trying to do, just a reaction thing, just reach out when he saw me come by. Wow. Solid punch straight to the jaw. Never been hit so hard before. And that wasn't even a tackle. It was just a guy making an instinctive grab, trying to, make a play. So that let me know, look here, man, we made it through the season here, and there's no reason to be here. The guy, he's not trying to hurt you, but that punch in the jaw might have been a sign for me. So I decided to skip out. Well, lo and behold, because you didn't have reserve players running plays and scouts like we normally did, we didn't get the kind of work that we needed to have during the week. And sure enough, the team goes in and they're underprepared and end up losing the game to the rivals. They scored in the last minute to knock us off. But it's a game that we definitely should have won. And the coach let us know about it. He said that'll never happen again under his watch. Whether that did or not, we don't know. But at that particular time, we weren't realizing the detriment that we had on our team's chances. So even though you're a reserve player, you got a certain role. If you don't do your role, no matter how insignificant you think you are, you play a very big part. And it play a big part in who determines who wins these games. So that's just an example of what happens behind the scenes during a rivalry week that determine the outcome of games. Now, a couple games this week is going to determine who goes to conference championship games. The first one, you have Texas and Texas A&M. Those guys, they hadn't played in 13 years. And part of that is because A&M went to the SEC to get away from Texas. Lo and behold, guess who joins the SEC? Texas. Now, Texas tried to, because they're forever the bad guy in that part of the country, and I'm going to find out why, because the people in Arkansas hate Texas more than A&M does, and I really like to know why. And they're going to take on A&M finally on the field after 13 years. They tried to play them for 22 and 23, but A&M refused. They want to have nothing to do with Texas. And even now that they're renewing their rivalry, they're not even playing on Thanksgiving like they usually do. They say, forget that. We don't have nothing to do with you guys. We're going to treat you guys like a regular opponent, and that's where we are. But A&M had a chance to control their own destiny. Just 2 weeks ago, they were undefeated in the conference. Then they get beat up by South Carolina. and then they lose in overtime to Auburn the other day. So all their control is gone. All their control is gone. And because of that, they're going to have to beat Texas to even have any kind of chance of making it to the conference championship. K Gaming 1K say I'm Indian. Well, I can't help that. Maybe you could change the language around. That'll help. So A&M is not dead yet, but they still have to beat Texas in a game that's going to be full of tension. And I think they're going to be able to beat Texas in a hard-fought struggle. It's not going to be easy, but because they hate them so much, I think A&M is in a better position than the Longhorns to win this game. If they do beat the Longhorns, then it's going to fulfill my prophecy of both teams in the SEC championship is going to have 2 losses. Texas right now is the only team left with 1 loss, and if they were to lose to A&M, it's all going to come down to tiebreakers. And if it does, I think that it's going to end up being Texas and Georgia in the championship game. Nice, bro. Keep it up. Appreciate it, man. I'm going to keep it up. So that's just one matchup that has an effect on the college football championships. The other matchup is Michigan and Ohio State. Regardless of what anybody from that part of the world tells you, this is the game that matters to both these teams. They both can go 0-11, still get both coaches fired. And if you lose that game in 0-11, and you're going to get fired for sure. So it's a game that just got a lot riding on it. And Ohio State has lost the last 3. There's no Jim Harbaugh anymore, and Michigan doesn't have a quarterback. So the odds favor that Ohio State will win this game, but that don't mean they're going to win it. Anytime that you have a rival and you had a tough season, you have a chance to put it all together by knocking these guys off. And if Ohio State gets knocked off this time, then that opens the door for Indiana. So I ask the question, who or what chance does the Hoosiers still have to make the conference championship? Well, they're going to have to beat Purdue, and then they're going to need Michigan to knock off Ohio State. All right, content farm that makes my tongue taste like eggplant is that bad. Well, I hear you guys, you talk all kind of crazy stuff hiding behind the screen. I'm in Jacksonville. You want to look me up, come look me up and say the crap that you're saying now. Otherwise, you return to your horrible life and with your horrible friends or anything else that you might have going on. But, you can laugh all you want. It has no bearing on me. And that's all I'm going to say. But, Eric, I appreciate you subscribing. What am I doing? I'm trying to talk about rivalry week in college football. Now, the odds are is that Ohio State is going to beat Michigan. But all it takes is a couple turnovers. Michigan does have a good defense. They don't have a quarterback, but they have enough hate in their system that they could possibly pull off the upset. Now, I asked about Indiana. Indiana can make the conference championship with the upset and a win over Purdue, but the likelihood of that happening is very low. But Indiana had their chances, but I think they were afraid of Ohio State. They weren't playing against the current team, Ohio State. They were playing against the name on the chest. Because as you know, Ohio State and Michigan has dominated the Big Ten for decades. And teams like Indiana or Purdue or Iowa, they may compete sparingly, but consistently it's always Ohio State and Michigan. So when you look at Curtis Rourke, who's had this great season, he came down and he scored a touchdown to begin the game. And after that, Ohio State started blitzing. And then he would have people open, but he's standing there watching the blitz. And he's folding the tent when he could stand in there and throw the ball. Now, if you're going to make professional football, he's going to have to stand in there and throw the football. And that wasn't a good look for him. But it was informative for him. In the same way that when Quinn Ewers played Georgia blitzed him, and they got to the ball just as he was throwing it, and they knocked it out of his hand a lot. That's the same kind of pressure he's going to face if he's going to the NFL. So if this is something he wants to do, he's going to have to step his game up. Now, Rourke probably not going to get to the Big Ten championship, but if enough things shake out, he might end up in the college football playoffs. And the lesson that problem is you have to show up no matter who it is you're playing. He didn't fit the role fully the other day, Ohio State. And just to illustrate what I mean by that, that's afraid of another team, they'll come out and they'll play scared, and they'll start making all kind of silly mistakes, and next thing you know, the score balloons out of control. But once the score gets out of control to the point where the fears were realized and they were satisfied, meaning what you thought was going to happen has happened, then you settle down and you start playing some football. And you kind of saw some of that from Rourke the other day. Once they fell way behind to the point that they couldn't come back, then he started throwing the football again. And that let me know right then that either he was scared, somebody on the team was scared, or the Hoosiers never thought that they were going to win this game in the first place. So that's just my thought. Bro, recording from a potato. What's the camera pixel? My camera's acting up today? Okay. Well, I don't know why that happens. Sometimes I have bad receptions and I can't really see it. And I appreciate you telling me that. So because of that, I'm going to cut it short. But some of you guys with your insane comments, you get a show. Let's see what you're talking about. And I'm not really even concerned about what they say, Erica. So they all can, like Willie D say, kick rocks barefoot at a concrete plant. So that doesn't bother me what they're saying. So why are you so close to the screen? I'm close to the screen because I want to be close to the screen. I'm doing this because I'm holding the thing in my hand. And I prefer to do it this way because now you can look right into my eyes. A lot of times you can't even see my eyes when I'm using a tripod. And I don't know why that is, but I'm not even concerned about it. But anyway, I enjoyed even you crazy commenters. It don't even bother me at all. I don't really have the capacity to block you right now because I'm doing this from a mobile situation. But like I say, I'm not bothered by that at all. But just to recap what I was trying to say, and I'll come back later on when I have a better signal to try to redo and get my points across. But Indiana, they lost to Ohio State the other day, but they still have an opportunity to make it into the conference championship game. And if not, they can still make it into the college football playoffs. The Big 12 is wide open. BYU ruined their chances, but I think the best teams right now are Arizona State and Kansas, but Kansas is out of it. So I think Arizona State has the inside track to that, and I think Texas A&M has a real good opportunity to logjam the SEC with 4 teams in the final race, and it's going to come down to tiebreakers to see who's going to get that final spot. And right now, I think it's going to be Texas and Georgia. So all Texas have to do is not get broken up in the process, but they should be able to handle A&M normally. But A&M, I think they got just enough hate to be more than a problem for the Longhorns this weekend. But I apologize for the pixelation problem, and that just means I have a bad signal, and that's not always the case, but that's fine. Arizona State, they're playing good football right now. I'd like to see how they would do in the college football playoffs. And being that they come from the Pac-12, they would be a problem, and they wouldn't be afraid of some of these teams like, say, Indiana was afraid of Ohio State. So anyway, you guys have a nice day. Erica Langston, appreciate it. If you guys are interested in my kind of comments, please subscribe. Hit the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. So until I get me a better signal, I'll catch you guys next time. Meanwhile, I got to go to work. I'm out. Have a great day.